If you haven't seen yet the introduction video and maybe the feature explanations video, I recommend you to do it since it may answer a bunch of questions you might have. As the title implies, I'm going to talk about the many times the warrior clearly appeared during the main series of Final Fantasy games. Before we start, I'd like to talk about one trivia related to the original Japanese name, Senshi. Since it can be translated as both warrior or fighter, they chose the latter for the first US localization of Final Fantasy I in 1990, and we had to wait for the Origins remake in 2003 on PlayStation for it to be officially renamed Warrior. The Warrior was always a strong character class wearing the heaviest armors and weapons, privileging HP, strength, and more or less defense, having either none or low magical abilities and stats, and often average or below average speed. Even though it was one of the 6 first jobs or classes of the series, more often than not it wouldn't appear because its premises were too basic or too vanilla, and was even replaced by knights or paladins as they could pull more tricks, but I'll talk about these in another video. The first game laid the foundations of what will be known as the warrior job of the Final Fantasy games. Little reminder of the vertical line setting. The warrior was the most suitable class to be put on top, since it was a spot most likely to be targeted by the enemy's physical attacks. Stats-wise, the warrior boasted the highest stamina, which lowered physical damages received, the first place in strength until the monk leveled up enough, and the highest HP between all the starting jobs. However, the first FF tried to balance things out, so each job had some weaknesses. The warriors were its intelligence that acted as a magic defense and attack at the same time, being the lowest of all, and the other one was the big amount of money you had to spend to buy your warrior the best gear available to withstand big damages and to keep its own damage output really high. But at least the EXP grinding made it up for it. Last things to add about the original NES sprites. Probably due to technical limitations, they went for red armor that would stay in the remakes, and red hair that was changed to blonde in a Japan-exclusive handheld console named the WonderSwan color, and stayed that way in the subsequent remakes. That original sprite was the one used for a minion in Final Fantasy XIV called the Warriors of Light that would randomly summon the warrior, the white mage or the black mage. The main antagonist until level 15 during the warrior side story in FF14 also has red hair. The warrior, just like the other jobs, could be upgraded at some point in the game in a knight, but I'll cover that part in a future video. Let's head now to the next episode of Final Fantasy. There was no warrior in Final Fantasy II. Just like in the first game, the warrior had a big HP pool, high strength, and was able to wear the heaviest armors between the first jobs and a variety of weapons. In the original version, it became useless once you unlocked the second set of jobs. In the DS one, thanks to a major balancing of all jobs, the warrior saw its stat boosted so it could be used throughout the game and got itself a new exclusive skill, Advanced. This skill was an improved attack, hence the name, that would sacrifice your physical defense to deal more damages until your next turn. The boost in damages both inflicted and received was improved by the warrior job level. Let's proceed to the next episode. Well, actually, let's just leap to the next episode where a warrior class appeared. Okay, no, that's enough. That's enough. Stop, please, stop. Oof. Yes, we had to wait that long to see a warrior class again. The warrior dress sphere was one of the 4 primal dress spheres you had at the beginning of the game. Pain's default design in cutscenes was also her warrior one. This job had rather high strength and defense stats, even if others were better, but it had the break skill set that crippled the enemy stats, like armor break or magic break, and especially Sentinel that would allow you to sustain only 1 damage from physical attacks until your next turn. It also had access to a set of elemental skills to efficiently exploit weaknesses. Next! Here, the warrior is one of the 6 starting classes you can select when creating your character, the same 6 classes of the original Final Fantasy. It is aimed at tanking at low level since it is the only one able to wear the heavy armors between the first 6 jobs. It also has the Provoke skill as well as Defender that lowers its attack by 25% while providing a 25% defense bonus. At higher level, the warrior can still be a good tank, but it is easily replaced by paladins and ninjas, yes I know, so the warrior goes back to being a DPS, a damaging role, thanks to Aggressor boosting its accuracy while lowering its evasion, and Berserk that is the polar opposite of Defender, lowering defense by 25% to boost attack by 25%. These skills are especially appreciated when having the warrior as a subclass. About the combat skills, the warrior has the most diversity in weapons proficiency, 13 different weapons and none of them lower than D, meaning that it's one of the best jobs to raise your side job skill caps. And of course, A- proficiency in axes, and it's the only job with A+ in great axes. You can guess why they gave great axes to warriors in FF14. No warrior class in Final Fantasy XII. Even though the melee units usually regroup skills associated with melee class jobs from previous Final Fantasy games, there was no warrior in the protagonist's roster. Let's skip the next 2 episodes. Lightning's design in this game already made her appear as a warrior or a knight, but you still could find the Amazon warrior garb that had Soul of the Warrior, which upgraded your HP and attack power. Also, that great axe made of ice used by Snow has been added to FF14 as a warrior weapon through an event, but it's now only available through the Mark Shop. We finally arrive at the end of our first journey together. The Marauder is the class that is upgraded into the warrior's job. Like Final Fantasy XI, the warrior acts as a tank, a protection role, aimed at keeping the enemy's attention, or aggro, boasting a high HP pool, and wearing heavy armors allowing them to sustain damages healers or DPS never could. The warrior is a bit more self-sufficient with self-healing abilities than the other tanks. As opposed to the 11th, it still can tank really efficiently all along its leveling thanks to a self-buff called Defiance. Unlocked almost at the same time as the warrior crystal job, it boosts your HP and the healing received while lowering your damage output. And it gets another self-buff called Deliverance, not stackable with Defiance, that improves your damage output without any real penalty on survivability. These self-buffs work in a similar way. When you perform combos, you stack resources to execute some skills when reaching 5, or just sit on them to have a 2% critical chance boost per stack. Called Wrath while in Defiance, the skills improve your taking potential, like Inner Beast that lowers the damage taking for 6 seconds after using it, while also providing a bit of self-healing for the amount of damages it did, or Steel Cyclone that is an AoE with aggro bonus. Called Abandon while in Deliverance, you only have 2 skills, but Fellcleave has one of the highest damage potency of the game. The job side story revolves mostly around unleashing your inner beast without losing your grip on it, keeping the feral and brutal aesthetic of the job. The warrior job in FF14 is a tank through and through, thanks to his aggro boosting skills and abilities, his traits, and geared up with heavy armors, with an emphasis on being able to go berserk, literally, to get some really nice damage output even though not as high as DPS jobs. The times when it was only a lower knight or paladin are behind us.